Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So guys, before I get into the video, I know on my boxing channel, I just want to talk a little bit about the football. Italy win the Euros, heartbreak for us English fans here in England. It was a great game. I know some of you from America might not be into football, so bear with me before I get into the actual boxing, what I want to talk about from a boxing standpoint. But the game was very hard for contested. I think Italy are very good, of course, and England were good. The first 20 minutes, England did well. England came out and scored. And after that, Italy, in my opinion, I felt they were putting the passes together. They looked confident, and they didn't score. England managed to keep them out in the first half. But you know, on reflection, maybe England were slightly the better side in the first half. They got the goal, but then the second half, oh my goodness, that was probably the most defensive performance I've ever seen. You can't defend against a team like that, against a quality team like that. It was just one-way traffic. There was nothing from England in the second half. It was terrible. I can't believe how someone just shut up shop. England just shut up shop, and they just thought that they're gonna defend their way to a win. I didn't quite understand, and you're basically retreating, parking two buses. There's no chance of you scoring. The ball's only going one way. You know, they weren't a threat on the counter attack. Even the second balls where Italy kept getting it and kept coming forward. They were pushing forward continuously, and it was a matter of time before Italy would score. Got their goal, and then after that, it just looked like it was Italy that was going to score. And if their player Chiesa, didn't get injured, I think they would have probably made it 2 or 3-1 in full time. He got injured, which was a lucky break for England. And England managed to take it to extra time. Extra time was okay. I felt both teams were kind of not committing too much. I think it was even. Maybe Italy had the slight better of it over the two halves. But then in the penalty shootout, my goodness. Italy, I knew as soon as it went to penalty shootout, Italy would win. Their goalkeeper is unbelievable. He's huge. And England managed to go ahead. One of their players missed, Italy's players missed, and England went ahead. But then upstairs, Marcus Rashford has been brilliant this year, not just on the football field, but off it. His form leading into the tournament wasn't great, but off the football field, he's been great. His penalty was, thing is with penalty shootout, it is what it is. It's a lottery. But I always think when I see a lot of these guys dancing, I just don't like it. Just kick the ball. And hope the keeper doesn't save it. But by doing all of that fancy stuff, that dancing, I'm not a fan of that. Just kick the ball. Smash it. Give the keeper no chance. Hit it on target and smash it. There's a great chance the keeper ain't gonna have enough time to save it. If you hit it right, it goes into, even if you hit it, don't hit it that well. If you smash it and it's on target, there's a great chance it's gonna go in. But by you doing all that fancy stuff, and it just puts you off. You don't have the rhythm in the taking the penalty, and he missed it. He ended up hitting the post, and then after that, Italy scored. I think they went ahead, and then Sancho missed. And then Jorginho, who's Italy's player, stepped up and he missed. And then England Saka missed their last penalty. And a lot of people were very critical of Saka taking the penalty because he's a young. Here's the thing about penalty shootout. It's a lottery. It's a lottery. Anyone can win. It's one of those things, and unfortunately, it's really upsetting because, Italy have won a lot. They've won 4 World Cups and now 2 European Championships. England haven't won any European Championships, and their World Cup win was, 55 years ago in 1966, which is very, very disappointing because England teams don't get opportunities like this. And I know they were saying that they're going to rebuild, but it's very difficult to get into situations like this, but especially when there's you've got to understand the route England got as well. England got an easier route to the final, so you're not always going to get a chance like this in your hometown, in your home, country. It was devastating to lose that way. So close, but so far, Italy, they're brilliant. Italy are brilliant. Brilliant. They're a brilliant football side. Brilliant football side. And they're two at the back, Bonucci and Chiellini, 34 and 36. Oh my goodness. Their defensively, they are brilliant. They put their lives on the line when they're defending. It's unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable stuff. Italy are a special team. I enjoyed it. It was a good. Obviously, England didn't win, but nevertheless, it was a great game. Thanks, Fight Gamer. I know you said that you should do some post-fight reaction. I thought I'll give my reaction on this because it was a big event. It was, sad that we didn't manage to pull it off. But Italy, I think overall, they probably deserved to win, to be honest with you. I think they were the better team, not just today, but in the whole tournament. I think they were probably the best team and they deserve. Italy are 34 games unbeaten. Imagine that, 34 games unbeaten in international football. Unbelievable stuff by Italy. What a team. What a team. I was so impressed with their performance. Their defenders at the back. Wow. They know how to defend. They know how to defend. They're brilliant. Respect to Italy. Respect to Italy. But enough of football. Congratulations to Italy. Well done to England for giving us a lot of entertainment. Had the fans hooked on. We were all, after such a tough year, the pandemic and all of that, for them to give us so much joy. It was a great tournament. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed all of the games. And, maybe England have got a young side. Maybe next time in the World Cup, they could do something. But, winning tournaments is very difficult because there's a lot of good teams. And for me, the best team won the tournament. So that's my take on that. Guys, I've been asked about Canelo and Crawford. Imran, do you think Crawford is a better fighter? Do you think Crawford deserves to be pound for pound better than Canelo? Here's what I'm going to say. Canelo and Crawford. Crawford, for me, is such a gifted fighter. I know a lot of people talk about his resume, and I'm going to go into that in a minute. Canelo Alvarez has got very, very good boxing IQ. He's very, very skilled. He can fight as a pressure fighter. He can box you in the center of the ring. Canelo Alvarez has got unbelievable skills. But Canelo Alvarez's skills is different to Crawford. Canelo Alvarez's skills is more he breaks you in half. He breaks you down. He batters you. He's more of like a Mike Tyson, a vicious type fighter. Not completely like that, but like that. More of a killer, but with very, very high boxing IQ. He can pressure you. He can hurt you with a punch. Crawford, skill-wise, is a magician. He's like, he can fight orthodox and then he can go southpaw, he does it without, it comes so naturally to him. It comes so naturally to Terence Crawford. He's so brilliant at switching. And he doesn't do it like he's weaker in one of the stances. He's brilliant in both stances. He's gifted, Terence Crawford. Skill-wise, Terence Crawford, there is no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Terence Crawford, from a skill point of view, may even be more skilled than Canelo in terms of what he can do with that. Because how many fighters do you know that can do what Crawford does? Go from southpaw to orthodox. That's a very, very great attribute to have. Because all of a sudden, right, you can completely confuse a fighter. Because if a fighter's got the hang of your style, now all of a sudden you go to southpaw, you're bamboozling that guy. You're bamboozling that guy because now all of a sudden he has to get his angles together again. He has to reset. He has to do something else. So this is the advantage that Crawford's got. Plus, Crawford's so fast. I've seen Crawford press people. I've seen Crawford, Crawford can box as well. He can box in the center of the ring. He's a lot faster than Canelo. He's also got power. Crawford's skill set is of the very, very highest order. I know a lot of people don't seem to give him credit, but I've seen Terence Crawford a few times. This guy is a very, very intelligent fighter, very intelligent fighter. And honestly, if you don't think he is, then I'm not sure you watch a lot of I just think I wouldn't say that you won't watch a lot of boxing, because I know a lot of you, all of you watch a lot of boxing. I reckon it's down to the fact that you don't like him because he's not taking on the competition, whatever. But in terms of skill set, I've seen this guy, right? This guy is a special talent. Special talent. Here's the problem for Crawford, though. Crawford's resume is not doing him any justice. Crawford's resume is not giving him the credit. Because if Crawford was to fight somebody like a Spence, like a Thurman, we may see the best of Crawford. Crawford's fighting people that are either on the slide or finished or past their prime. So we're not getting to see Canelo's dominating undefeated world champions. So Canelo's dominating against top level opposition. Whereas Terence Crawford, on the other hand, he's fighting guys that he's expected to beat. And when he does beat them, he doesn't get any credit for beating them. And that's the problem Terence Crawford seems to be having. He's not really fighting the competition that people want to see him fight. And he's beating guys that people expect him to beat. So when he beats them, people were like, oh, he beat a nobody. He beat a guy that's washed up. So this is the problem that Terence Crawford is having. Terence Crawford is not really fighting great competition like Canelo is. Canelo is walking through a division. And Terence Crawford's last 5 or 6 fights have all been against guys that weren't champions, apart from Horn. Apart from that, they were against guys that he was expected to win against, guys that, you know, weren't really huge underdogs against him. He's not really been in a big fight. Now, don't get me wrong, Canelo's fights, barring Golovkin, he's been favoured to win. You know, if you look at it, he's been favoured to win. But he's fighting more credible guys, more guys in their prime, like Callum Smith, in his prime, undefeated. Billy Joe, in his prime, undefeated. And this is what Canelo is doing. Now, if Canelo goes and fights Beterbiev, do you see the kind of moves that Canelo's making? Because here's the thing, I always say this. When you fight better competition, you look more vulnerable. And this is what I said about Khan and Brook all over the years. The reason why Khan looks more vulnerable than Brook, because he's fighting better fighters. He's fighting top guys. So the vulnerability Khan had with his chin was, at times, he'd either get knocked down or he got hurt in a fight because he was fighting guys that were world class. Whereas Brook was fighting guys that were poor, were not able to test him. So he looked like a world beater because he wasn't fighting top opposition. Whereas Khan was fighting top opposition back to back to back. So they were able to bring out the chinks that he had in his armor. The same with Crawford. If Crawford was to fight Errol Spence would bring out chinks in Crawford's armor. But because Crawford's fighting guys that are either not at his level or guys that are past their best, that probably in their prime would have caused him trouble, we're not seeing those chinks in his armor. We're not seeing Crawford tested. And that's the problem with Terence Crawford, is that people, although everybody knows in boxing that Terence Crawford has a very high skill set and a very high boxing IQ, they're questioning the guys that he's doing it against. They're questioning the guys that he's fighting. They're saying, all right, you're very skilled. We get that. But who are you doing it against? Canelo Alvarez is going up against the best. Now, Crawford may be able to do that. Crawford might fight Manny Pacquiao, completely demolish him. Crawford may fight Spencer, completely demolish him. But until we see him do it, we can't really give him that, put him on that pedestal like we can with Canelo. That's why Canelo, for me, is pound for pound the best fighter in the world. Canelo, there's not a question. It's not even close. And anyone that says Crawford's the best pound for pound fighter is talking rubbish. Canelo Alvarez is the best pound for pound fighter in the world, without question. It's not close. Guys, you know I say it how it is. It's not close. Canelo is by far the best fighter in the world over Crawford. Even though Crawford's skill set, he may be better than Canelo. He may be better than Canelo. He may be better. He may go in there with Spence and dominate him in a way where we're all like, wow. But this is what I'm trying to say. this is when a lot of Canelo fans say, no, Canelo's way better than Crawford. I say, hang on a minute. Because if Crawford dominates someone like Errol Spence, then Canelo's not dominating guys like at that level. This is what I'm trying to say. If Crawford goes in there and dominates Errol Spence, that's pound for pound number one right there. I know a lot of you keep saying, well, no, look at what Canelo's done. No. Canelo's not dominating anybody as good as Errol Spence. Remember, Errol Spence is top 5 pound for pound. Even the Golovkin fight, let's not forget, they were very close fights. He's not dominating those fights. And after that, he hasn't really fought anybody on Errol Spence's level. So if Crawford was to dominate Errol Spence, see, this is what a lot of you said that Imran, no, even if Crawford beats Spence, no, if Crawford dominates Spence, then he is number 1 pound for pound. Because Canelo's not dominating anybody on that kind of level. Billy Joe and Callum Smith, they're not on Errol Spence's level. You guys know that. So this is what I'm trying to say, that yes, if Crawford was to dominate Errol Spence, completely dominate him, right, win a very wide decision or dominate him or stop him, then yes, he deserves to be number 1 pound for pound. Because that win would be better than anything that Canelo's done, in my opinion. You couldn't name a better win than that. In a dominating fashion. Because let's not forget, the best guy that Canelo's fought is Golovkin. And both those fights weren't dominating. You know, the first fight was a draw, which I personally thought Golovkin won. The second fight, I thought Canelo won, but it wasn't dominating. This is what I'm trying to say, that if Crawford, with all he's achieved, remember he's a 3-weight world champion, an undisputed champion, something that Canelo's trying to achieve at 140. If he was to dominate someone like Errol Spence, or even become undisputed, because remember, if Crawford becomes undisputed at welterweight, he's undisputed in 2 weight classes. There's no way anyone can then doubt his resume, because he would have become undisputed at welterweight and 100. That is so difficult to do, especially with the welterweight division the way it is. The chances are you're going to get either Manny Pacquiao or Spence. If it is Spence like the bookies expect it to be, if Crawford was to win that fight, and if Crawford just say fights Ugas, which I think there's a strong possibility, if Crawford fights Ugas and beats Ugas and then beats a Spence in dominating fashion, wow, I don't think anyone can deny that Crawford deserves to be pound for pound. I'm sorry, I don't think anyone can deny. Terence Crawford could definitely leapfrog. But as of right now, without question, Canelo is the best fighter in the world over Crawford. No doubt about it. Some people may even say Crawford doesn't even deserve to be number 2. What's he done lately? Possibly. There may be other fighters that have done more recently. But I think when you talk about pound for pound, it's not just about, you know, what you've done lately. Yeah, he's not done a lot, but it's also about your skill set. And your past has to come into it. You know, your past has to definitely come into it. He has been an undisputed champion, and his skill set is of the very highest order. When you're looking at a pound for pound list, it's not just who you beat recently. It's about your skill set as well. And Terence Crawford has got a very, very high boxing IQ. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to know your opinion. Do you think Canelo... Some of you may think Crawford is the best fighter in the world. I'd love to know your opinion. I'd love to know what you think. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought about the Italy-England game. What do you think about Canelo Crawford? Leave your thoughts, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.